This is the Red All Over reaction show to last night's 2-0 loss against Huddersfield. I could just rinse and repeat that intro from Sunday morning as well. Lost last night in the Bristol Street Tomatoes to Huddersfield, a very heavily rotated side, but a rotation on both sides. Well, we're going to give us thoughts on that, and then also a little bit of conversation on Daryl Clark of, is he the right man to lead us forward? It does feel a little bit early saying things like that, but it is a hot topic and discussion at the minute as well. So let's get stuck into it. Right. So, Andy, I feel like we might as well rinse and repeat what we said the other day and just stick it all back in there again. But obviously, both sides heavily rotated, and I think, especially when you look at that side that we did put out against Huddersfield, a lot weaker than what Huddersfield had put out. They're bringing Danny Ward in, Freddie Ladapo, Herbie Kane's getting minutes. Whereas we've got, 7 or 8 academy players in there alongside John Russell. Killip rotated as well. O'Keefe got some minutes. Benson on and then off after half hour. Heavily rotated team, but seemed no different to what Sat was like, really.
I can do it like give us a clue if you like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something to look for me, really. Right, I'm not going to pick on individual players, and I'll tell you why, because it really was rinse and repeat. You know, we'd have one person pressing at once, or at most 2 people pressing, and then it'd be passed out easily, and then somebody would go to them, and then it was exactly the same as on Saturday. We played in exactly the same way. One shot on flipping target. We conceded slightly earlier, on around 60 minutes, as opposed to a bit later than that, and then an injury time or an added time. Second goal, exactly the same. For me, it's not about the personnel, because, like you said, it were 2 completely different teams. The tactics were exactly the same, and were shockingly poor, because we neither know nor summit.
No,
we're not pressing, we're not defending.
Yeah,
we're doing note. We're doing nothing. It's abysmal, as what it is. Over 2 games, it's abysmal, and you can talk formations. I quite like a formation where there's wing backs, as opposed to a back 4, but it's immaterial. Both games, we didn't use midfield, we didn't pass it, we didn't move. We looked like we hadn't played together. A lot of these hadn't, or played much together, but the tactics were exactly the same, and that's the bit for me, the tactics, and that doesn't just come with people on the pitch. They had no idea, yet again, for 2 matches running, what to do. If we'd had any notion, we played them on Saturday, they didn't play any different.
no.
They're not great. They didn't play any different. They played the same, and we just played the same. And I think, if you've not only do you watch other teams to see how they play and see what we can do to offset it, but still stamp our authority or our play on a game, we actually played them. We played against them, saw how they did it, saw what we did wrong, and then did it the same. Einstein doing the same thing twice and hoping for a different outcome is insanity.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. Insanity. Abysmal insanity. So Pity Smith is not here because I could wind him up.
Yeah, it'd have been.
I'll just wind Jane up instead. Get him told, Jane.
Go on, Jane. It's always me as soon as he sees me.
It is. Jane, what did you think yesterday? Because as Andy said, very much rinse and repeat. But there's obviously, you can't really put too much blame necessarily on the players at that point, because it's a very young side we've put out. And the Huddersfield team was better because they got more seniors playing in that game.
Yeah.
And when you look at the fact that we necessarily didn't even perform on Saturday, I think if Daryl Clark had any sort of any fight about him in a way, that team on Saturday, we're playing again on Tuesday. Just to prove a point for me.
Yeah, I agree. So, firstly, I've got to say, it seems we were jinxed with this pink kit. Oh, God, I hate that pink kit. I've got to say it. I can't stand it. And I'm a girl. I can't stand it. But that looks abysmal for a start. But back to what matters, and that's the football. I agree with everything Andy's got to say, and I'm sure every fan. I think we're in unison when it comes to this is it looks like we're on pitch, but we don't know what we're doing. There's no formation to it. I don't understand where his ideas are or what he's doing. I can't figure it out. It's like watching a kids' football team as they're just getting together and going, right, so pass it to them, and then you go get ball, and it's like, well, what am I doing? And others looking at others going, what am I doing? Are you going football? Am I going football? What's happening? It's just there's no organisation to that, to any. It seems to be no matter what players we put in, there's no organisation. I don't get it. I don't understand it at all now. I'm getting really, really lost because we've had a good few games. I mean, Sheffield United. What's happened since Sheffield United? What's changed since Sheffield United? Where's the pressing? We're not even playing long ball. We're not playing any ball. There's no like I can say, oh yeah, he's going with that, or he's gone with long ball, he's gone with high press, he's sat back a bit, he's gone a bit defensive. He's not doing anything. I'm like, what are we doing? So I'm like that. It's painful. It's painful. I'm just thinking, I don't understand where the logic is and where it's gone wrong.
Yeah, I think that it is sort of a theme, Trace, isn't it? We're not really like the players haven't changed between sort of when we've had them good games against Crawley, for example, or when we played well against Sheffield United for it. We've still got that core team together, but as the team's actually playing, there's no plan there anymore.
No, it's like what if my kid at the park would be like, and what are you doing? I mean, it's like we're going for a kick around park. That's how it, and that might be a bit extreme, but that's how it seems. It's just like, has he lost the dressing room? Is it they don't want to fight for him? I don't know. I don't understand because, like you've said, the players are still the players.
Tracy, is it too early to start calling for a change of manager? Because we're barely really into the season. We're on the 9th of October now.
Yeah.
We've played a couple of Bristol Street Motors games. That's been and gone. A couple of Carabao Cup games, and how many games into the season are we? 8, 10?
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Like, there's not a big sample size to go on, Tracy, but where do you sit is it almost too early to react and be like, right, Clarke out, someone else in to try and save this season? Or do you give him time? Because when we sort of look historically, we've more or less given managers time. Shop got a fairly long time given how poor we were. Ashbaggy got a long time given, again, the no real upturning results. And then if you go back for enough, Lee Johnson, who had his bottom of League One, and we got promoted in that season by sort of sticking with him for that time.
He walked though, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm generally a believer in sticking it out a bit longer. I'm not a bit of a knee-jerk reaction sort of a person. However, something doesn't seem right in that, like you've alluded to the fact that he changed the personnel we were like last night. We were like last night, but in that team, you'd still got Killip, McCarthy, Pines, Gent, Russell, Lofthouse, Benson, Marsh, Humphreys, all of which have experience now at a level, certainly for the competition. And it's fun. The thing that upset me most about last night was none of them looked like they were that bothered to want to show to the management team, the fans, anybody that was watching, that they were wanting a place in that team, because none of them showed me anything that I was like, well, you're definitely cemented your starting at Blackpool side. Because Killip, to be fair, I thought played reasonably well. He dropped one early on, but after that I thought he made some all right saves. But other than that, there was nobody that sort of thought, wow, you've definitely given him a headache. It was as if the enthusiasm, the motivation, etc., was exactly the same. We were just flat. It was like we weren't bothered. When Pines got sent off, which I actually thought was a bit harsh, but when he did get sent off, he didn't look like he was angry, he was bothered, he just walked off. Clarke sort of shook his hand. I was thinking, this is all just wrong. It just looks wrong. That's the thing that worries me more than anything, is that no matter what team we put out there in the last 3 or 4 weeks, we don't look bothered, which that worries me. That I think, why don't we look bothered? They keep coming and saying the right things. Like I heard before the game, Aidan Marsh was saying, when we cross that line, we're going to run our blood to water, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And he was saying all the right things. This is a chance for us to show. I mean, they had no service up front, but none of them did that. None of them run the blood to water. So when you come back to the initial question, is it time for him to go? I think time is ticking. I really do. And I think the fans are certainly turning massively. Reading a lot of the stuff today, social media, I think he's riding his time. And I think, last year we hung on with Collins because the results were actually all right. Our football started all right this season, because I actually thought we were playing entertaining football, even though now I don't even think that's happening. So I think he's certainly under pressure, and I think Blackpool away is a massive game, because I think they'll have a decent crowd there. And we know what Blackpool away did last year to Neil Collins. That was pretty much the nail in the coffin, I recall. So we'll see.
That'll be some stat for Blackpool to get if they manage to do that twice. Andy, it seems so hard to put a finger on. Well, one a positive last night, but the one thing we did get to see, we got to see Enwakali get some minutes as well, who looks like an okay option, especially with his passing from deep, to sort of help try and instigate some moves, which hopefully with a better team around him, he might be able to do that. But again, it's going to be even more of a problem in midfield than if there's 3 midfielders that like to sit in a midfield. If we're playing 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, the midfield 3, all of them want to sit, and it's not really going to be well balanced, which seems to be one thing we're struggling with at the minute, is a balance to the side.
Yeah, I mean, I missed the show on Sunday morning, so I didn't say anything about last Saturday, the first game against Huddersfield. But we keep talking about we've got more than one sitting midfield player, and yet nobody's sitting and protecting the back, the back 3 or back 4. Whoever's sitting where they should be sat, because there's players at the edge of the box that have got a chance to put his dinner in the microwave, set it going, let it cool down before he scored the first goal. It was on his own, and people were having, some people were having a go at Mile for not coming out and blocking it, coming out and trying to block it. And I'm not saying that I don't think that's actually justified. He were on his own. He were a midfield player that had gone forward, and he were on his own. So I was very, very disappointed. I don't know. I don't know, by changing formations, if people don't know, players in them who are sitting know where they're supposed to be or not, but they were supposed to be there and they weren't. Similar to last night, I was the one thing I was looking forward to was seeing the wing backs play last night, because I thought they're going to stake a claim. And truthfully, I've been wanting Kyron to play at at wing back for a bit, and let's see what he's like. Well, neither of them did themselves any favours. I just sat there watching it, thinking I understand a little bit why we've been playing O'Keefe at left wing back, who's not great, far from it, and Cotter at right wing back. And I'm just disappointed that they didn't grasp the opportunity. For me, the only positive, till he got sent off, with Donovan Pines, because at least he tackled. He got tackles in, which rest didn't. Johnny Russell was supposed to be I presume, was supposed to be protecting the defence. And all I saw were him just loping about, and I've lost it. Loping about. Just they were all just
captain. And it was captain. I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
I said I wasn't going to speak about specific players, and I just have done. So
no, I know what you're saying.
I were a liar earlier on. I truly believe. I'm a hypocrite. Yeah, a bad one. I truly believe it's about the tactics, the way we set up, and the tactics, because it's shockingly poor. Yeah. And I think in my time, and it's been a long time, I wanted Shop to be sacked before he was sacked, and it's very, very rare. I think there are only one other manager that I've said I think he should be sacked, and I can't remember which it was. But it was a long time ago, so it's not something I would normally do. Like Tracy, I think gave him a chance to turn it around. but I don't know. I thought it was looking positive. I didn't think we were great away at Crawley, but we did a good job. We got a job well done and won well. And then when we played at home to Bristol Rovers, apart from getting a daft goal away, I thought we played pretty well. It was, quick, incisive football. And from then, and I don't know if it's the aftermath of, professional players, the aftermath of the drubbing at Manchester United, where we started well for 15 minutes and then, I don't know, it's just the same carrying on. And I don't know if we're awash. Well, I know Dean Whitehead's left.
We're lost.
Awash with coaches, awash with them. And I don't know if he can turn it round or not, because I thought he'd have turned it round last night, at least show something. And the wannabes, if you want to call them that, who I'd got some hopes for, just performed the same. It was, the similar goals, bring it over to their left wing, and he's on his own again, and puts it in again. And I just think we're not learning. Now, what I'm not sure about, and I don't want to misquote, but I've read stuff that Daryl Clark talks about not being the most tactically astute, which is why he has coaches around him, but being a man manager. So it's not so much about the tactics. He leaves that to other. If that's the case, then I don't know what he's doing, and I don't know why he's with us, because it's not working. If it continues not to work, and exactly what Tracy says, I mean, I personally won't get shut to him now, but I think it's close. I think unless it changes, he'll have plenty of time over Christmas, because he'll not.
How long would you give him, Andy? Like, so say results don't pick up over the next few games, how many more games would you give him before making that decision? Because it is, like you said, it's almost like a double-edged sword of it might work, it might not.
The difficulty is I'm still rattled over the last two matches, so it's hard sometimes to, even though we didn't do it late last night, it's difficult sometimes to see the wood for the trees. In my heart, I think somebody should be given a chance to put it right, can see what's wrong and put it right. What I don't like, I do like honesty and saying it how it is, we're not doing this and we're not doing that. But as a head coach with other people around him, he's not solving it. And I don't want to keep hearing that the players are crap and aren't doing what I'm saying. And if they're not doing what you're saying, then don't play them. So he didn't play them on last night. And they didn't do it either. They didn't do supposedly what he asked. So my heart says somebody needs to have time. Certainly Blackpool and another home game, get time to turn it round. But my head after the last 2 days just say, leave. Go. Just go. Because I can't see how it's going to turn round.
There's one thing there.
Unusual for me.
It is. I think that's a big statement. The fact that
that's bigger than all. I'm going to start watching game like that.
No answer to that. Oh.
The fact that even you're saying that, Andy, like you said, like it's not normal, like Poyer and Shop, like like even those, at least you could see somewhat of what they're trying to do and replicate, and it was just a case of didn't really have the tools to play the way in which they wanted, and it just weren't a good fit. Whereas Jane, it's a bit weird with Clarke because he's coming out and saying these things on a weekly basis now, which is more or less rinse and repeat of, I want them to do this, and we're doing this. And since sort of the first game, he said that, and he wanted to be here, and we're 15 games beyond that, and it's still like this of, I want this, the players are here. Like, there's been no convergence towards them two things coming together, regardless of what team we've played, who we've played against, and who's played for our team. Like, there's been no... We're just not getting any closer to what we want to be or what he wants us to be.
But that's called being a manager. You have a vision. That's managing anything. That's like me doing my job. You have a vision of what you want. You've got your team around you. This is what you want. It's how you deliver that to that team. That's why he manages football when I don't, because I ain't got a clue how to bring that to him. But he, in his profession, should have an idea of what's in his head, what he wants to achieve, what he believes them players are capable of, where their strongest positions are, and what the other team does, and to make that work. That's what you do. You study your other teams and you adjust your players where they need to be at that time. He's also got coaching staff around him, plenty of coaching staff around him. So what he needs to figure out is what am I not delivering right to these players to make it click? Because it seems to be every single player, not one or two players, not just goalkeepers or even, the very little strikers that we've got. It seems to be every player on that pitch, regardless of which formation he plays, no matter which way it goes round. There's something then, either he's not giving us the full picture, he's talking a good talk, or he's not, or he's not communicating with these lads properly. Because he's had time to get it. He's got people around him to drill it into him. They know what they're doing. They know how to play football. It's not rocket science. It's just good management. So what worries me is I cannot put my finger on it. We've had some shocking managers, haven't we? I mean, what it Moraes? Oh God.
Oh, I want him to be gone and all that, were it?
Oh, I know it was Moraes. You're talking about
Oh,
he's talking about Moraes. I know he's talking about that one. Dire. That were absolutely dire. And it feels like that all over again. I'm like, oh no.
I'm glad you brought Jose Mourinho because I don't know if any of you seen that clip of when Adam Amels on about they want them all to be tigers and lions and stuff.
Yeah, I was there at Ian's bar, and he's going, rah, rah. And they're like,
maybe that's what we're missing.
Going, who's this? Who's this?
Maybe that's what we're missing. We need more of that going on.
I'm just going to go, right, lads. So messing about that. Get it sorted.
I tell you what we need. We need a style of play. So if we are going to play a high line, then we've got to press high. You can't play an high line and not press. It goes together.
Especially with the lack of pace you've got defensively.
Oh God!
Like it doesn't.
What you can't do is have Aidan and Stephen Humphreys pressing, so they can just pass it to a fullback or a wing back, and there'll be nobody there.
Yeah,
because they're just running about like idiots,
but not gaining anything.
Getting tired, but for no good reason. If you're
getting the steps in,
press as a team. That's what you should do. Press as a team. Back them up. Not divil about letting two people or one person press, because it becomes so unbelievably disheartening.
Yeah.
And we've got a midfield that, if you want to call it the first team, I won't quite say any of them at first team, but the first team, we're supposed to got players that can play football, can pass and move. We're not passing, we're passing poorly. When we do give it to them, we're passing it poorly, and we're not moving. It looks static.
No fight, Andy.
Cumbersome.
No fight. No. None whatsoever.
No grit. No Yorkshire grit.
Yeah, that is missing. Yeah. Tracy, one thing I think it was you actually said it last season about Neil Collins was the mark of a good manager is the development of players as well, of players progressing and getting better. To me, there's not one player this season that has got better, even though Adam Phillips his output's greater. It's not been through the fact that we've created loads of chances and he's just one that's been tapping them in. It's been a case of his actual individual quality has carried us more than it has been sort of a style and things like that.
Yeah, I did say that, he's got to bring players on, and again, we haven't. I think, when the transfer window finally shut and we ended up with the players that we'd got, and Clarke knew what he'd got then. I think up to then it's hard to judge a manager, even though he'd come in earlier, because, Collins obviously came in so late and he's come in earlier, he had a good pre-season. Everything was in his favour, really, other than we didn't know what the squad was going to be. So when the transfer window shut, I then thought, okay, let's see what this guy's made of, because you've got what you've got then. I know we haven't got the greatest squad. I certainly would have liked more. We all would. But you've got what you've got. What's worrying is that it doesn't, like Andy said, we don't seem to favour a formation.
Yeah.
I know we spoke loads about Neil Collins didn't have a plan B, and obviously Clarke's got B, C, D, E, F all in one game. I have no problem in changing, but we need to stay with it. We need to practice one formation, and that's us. That's our style. That's what we do. And all right, if we're losing 2-0 or we realise we're getting off or whatever, you change it. But I think he's got to stick with the formation. You've got to try and get a best 11. And again, we should have people challenging. Certainly in the midfield, because that's where we probably on paper definitely are stronger.
Yeah.
But I just think we don't we've not had a consistent formation or a consistent, I'd say 12, 13. And Keeler Dunn's the best example. I mean, we worked so long to get him. I know it was mentioned on Sunday when I watched Sunday's show. You know, when I spoke to the Stockport guy podcast a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Oh, Keeler Dunn destroyed us last season. What an outstanding signing you've got!" And you know, he's brilliant. And I just think, well, what have we done to him? Because he played and we've destroyed him. So again, is that because he's not playing in the right position? Is he not being managed right? I just don't know. But I think Clarke has got, in my opinion, till the end of October. We've got Blackpool, and then we've got a Tuesday night game. I think it's Charlton at home. You know, they're two big games. I think we've got one more. Is it Shrewsbury away before the end of October?
Yeah.
I think if those 3 games don't go to plan, and certainly not so much the results, but just our performance.
Yeah.
Just playing better, and the fans thinking, well, okay, we've played better. They were a better side. Fair enough. You don't mind that, but I think he's got to do in the next 3 games, because if he doesn't, then I think the hatchet's got to fall. Who replaces him? That's a different show, isn't it? Because I don't immediately think. Oh yeah, sack him. If I could think straight away, I would like to come in.
Yeah.
And I hear Jurgen Klopp's got a job at Red Bull, so that one's off the table.
Oh no. If only he'd have known.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think he's got to get formation and a style and a settled team. He's certainly not bringing the best out, I don't think, of the players that we've got.
No, I agree. Andy, one thing that he did say is that he wouldn't settle for less than 110% sort of every single game. And
well, he is doing.
that is what I was about to say. It's not even the fact of there's no style there, there's no fit. I can not live with that, but I can understand that it still takes time to implement these kinds of things. But there's just to me, it's just like a sheer lack of effort, exemplified by that Huddersfield game on Saturday and that first goal of there's no one busting a gut to get back. I know people blamed MDG for that, but there's a forward next to him. If he comes and steps out, Ben Wellesley playing it straight into him and he's one-on-one, and it's MDG's fault for that again, and it's MDG's fault that he didn't close him down. It clearly isn't Dujivne's fault for that goal. It just happens to be at the wrong place at the wrong time and easy to blame.
It absolutely is. If you've got, like I say, defensive midfield players that are supposed to be protecting the back 3 or back 4, wherever, usually back 3, I would hope, then that's what they should do. And it was a midfield player. It was on Saturday. It was Wiles that scored from the edge of the box, and he's a midfield player. He's not a striker. That the centre halves aren't marked. He's a midfield player that's got there, and we haven't got back to cover it, and that's not right. That's just not right. For me, the other stuff. For me, I would play Luca there, and I know Luca can be all right going forward but Luca there, because what we're not doing, as you've all alluded to, is Keeler Dunn's not being used to his strengths. Neither is Phillips. They're often playing out wide. They're not wingers. They can drift out wide to get crosses in, but for me, it would be such as Connell holding, and them two playing, attacking, just in front of him with a wing. We needed a left wing back. George Gent is not currently the left wing back that we needed. He's all right, and he'll come. He's only 19. Give the kid a break. And I think he will make something, but he's not there yet. So that was a grave error. On the right hand side, we've usually got Bazza, and at least he's getting somebody off the seat. Well, he don't get me off my seat because he's lost it by the time I've got off my seat, and they have to sit back down again straight away. But Bazza can get most people off the seats. So I don't think personnel-wise. I mean, remember when the window closed, there were a lot of people, particularly towards on the last day, were saying, including us, that it weren't a bad transfer window. It were a pretty decent transfer window.
It was.
Now people are saying sack the board, get out of our club because you're not giving him the tools. Well, we weren't saying that at the end of the transfer window. So the buck stops with one person, and if we've not got any shape, any style, anything, then that stops with for me with the head coach. We can blame the owners appointing him, not giving him a budget, but what you blame whoever you want about it. But on the pitch, that comes down to players take some responsibility, but the way they're set up, the manager, the coach, the head coach for me, and he's got to show his mettle and not just say they're not doing what I want, they're rubbish, they're not doing
Blaming them.
Sort yourselves out, because they're not sorting themselves out. If you identify a problem as the head coach, as James said, as the manager, it's your job. It's not James. James says, I don't know what we can do. I don't know what to. It's not our job to know what to do.
Yeah.
I'm not getting paid to say. I'm not just telling you what we need to do. Two strikers, and them three in midfield. Them at wing back. That's what we need. Get big Donny on, because he'll win everything. And let's see what happens with that. But even if you pick the best players in the best positions, there has to be a style, and not keep prattling about with it. And I were a bit Joshua. I like Josh Earl. I think he's a decent centre half, but he's not. Whatever anybody else thinks, he's not a fullback. And
he's not. I don't think he set off this season very well, to be honest.
No, if you're beaten for speed by Herbie Kane, then you're not right quick. So just play people in the correct positions. For me, a back three, and you can pick whichever ones you want from that. I'd be tempted, if I'm honest, to put Earl at left wing back and let him play, a bit further forward and get him out of defence for a bit. Because I do think Donny should be there, and we'll see with others. But they've got to know, and they've got to. It's the way we set up. We're not pressing as a team. We're not passing and moving. We're not doing anything. Whichever players. I mean, I ain't counted them up, but we've played at least 20 odd players of the last two games to absolutely no effect at all in terms of how we play, the style, the tactics, all that. So that don't rest with the board for me. That don't rest with Mladen or John Flatman. It rests with the person who's tasked with sorting that out, and he's not doing yet. As I hope he does, but
Jane, how long would you give him? Would you give him till the end of October, or would you be a little bit sooner or later?
No, I think I'm in agreement with Tracy. I can't. I think he's lost the dressing room, and I can't see how he's going to get it back. As we said at the beginning of the season, we had a lot of hope. They brought Oran back as player coach. We got Roberts back in defence. We'd made some good signings, all in all. So I was quite hopeful. We were all hopeful. We were all quite happy with the transfer window. And we set off not storming it, but we set off okay. And we won Sheffield United, we were buzzing for that. So we had some good games, and we could see some little flares coming through. I mean, Phillips, again, he's been quality. So where's that gone? And why is it gone? What is happening? We've seen this too many times, Jock. We've seen it too many times. I'm agreeing with Tracy. I think he's got all end of month. And then it's time.
My bit is very simple. If we think, and like I've said to you, well, apart from Maurice and a couple others now, because I'd forgotten about him, if we think, if I were the owner or whoever, the director of football or whatever, and we think he's lost the dressing room, I would be sitting down with him and saying, right, are you going to resolve it? Are you going to sort it out?
Yeah.
And if it's, they're not doing what I'm saying, I just say, off you go.
I think
you can't solve it, off you go. There's no point in wasting time. Off you go.
Yeah.
In 3 games' time will be lower than flipping Gabe Sutton's 17th. And we can't do that. Dear God, we can't do that.
Oh, we're crawling down at League Two. Oh, gosh.
You're going to have to wear that T-shirt, Andy, and all if it happens. It should be a massive problem.
I can't wear a T-shirt that says Gabe Sutton were right.
You might not be far off at this rate. Tracy, what would you do to change it?
Come on,
Tracy. A very small question.
Crikey. I mean, I think my level 2 FA coach's badge ain't going to cut it, if I'm being honest.
At least you've got one. Don't ask me, I got anything.
I don't know. Some GCSEs, if that helps.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you don't know what to do, does he? But the dressing room situation, I don't know. Has he lost the dressing room? We don't know. I don't know. It's some things that seems amiss. They're coming out, and I think coming out and slating the players was fine the first couple of times because I thought the fans were like, "Oh, well done! It's great to have someone that speaks and doesn't."
Yeah.
Now I think, well, it's okay slating them, but it's absolutely making no difference. And then I watched his press conference this morning, and he actually defended them quite a lot last night, and I thought. That's quite interesting because they were exactly like I said, they were just as abysmal yesterday as they were on Saturday, just a different 11 that were abysmal. All right, don't slate the academy kids, I won't do that. But for the pros amongst them, they were equally as bad. What would I do? I think basically you've got to get them together, aren't you, and give them a bit of a rallying call and say, look, what's going on? And I know maybe say something's amiss, what's going wrong. Maybe, I don't know. I think he's got to stop changing and chopping and changing. I think he has to. I think we've got to settle on something. I think he's just got to say, we're a 4-4-2, we're a 3-5, whatever we are. We've just got to do it. And we've got to play to our strengths. Like Andy said, and we have got an abundance of centre halves. We had none last year. We've got an abundance this year. So it does lean itself towards 3 at the back. So I think let's stick on that then, right? We're a 3 at the back team. Unless we have injuries or whatever. We've got a very strong midfield. Again, I can't believe I'm saying it twice in one show, but I have to agree with Andy. I think Luke has got to go back.
He's feeling all right.
I know.
Women agree with you, man. What's going on?
I know. I think Luke
Unheard of.
Luke has got to go back and sit in there because he's not having a great season. A lot of people say, no, is it because he's captain or whatever? I don't think it is. I don't think that's changed. He led anyway, whether he was wearing the captain's armband or not. He's always sort of shouted and dictated. So I don't think that's been a massive issue to him. But he's not the player he was. So I think getting back in there because it's where he's strong. And yeah, we do have sort of the likes of Keeler, Dunn, Phillips, etc. to just get in there and play. And I don't know, maybe take the shackles off a bit because we've gone from playing with a bit of freedom to playing looking like, again, we're frightened to death and now no confidence. So, yeah, I don't know. He's got to do something because I won't lose my job based on what he does, but he's got to do something. Otherwise, yeah, I think, and you know what, when I watched that today, he looked under pressure and stress, I thought, if you've seen the interview today, to be fair, the guy looks, and he looks under pressure. He looked tired. I could feel the stress coming from him, as if to say, for the first time, I actually thought he sounded like he was under pressure. So
pressure makes diamonds.
It does.
There
it
we
does.
Go. Pressure makes diamonds.
That's the one.
Get your thoughts down in the comments below of one.
It does take about 1 million years, though.
Andrew, let's not go with facts.
Oh, we'll still be here.
We
We'll still be watching this.
Not sure me Smithy will be.
Ian, Josh.
Little scamps will have taken over, Josh.
I don't know, 9 days to Blackpool. He's got plenty of time.
Yeah, it's a big week because it's a week where he can get everyone together and coach them of how he wants to coach them. He's got everyone available to him as well. So hopefully a big reaction. So yeah, get your thoughts down in the comments below of how you think Daryl Clark's done so far. If he set off well, has he been somewhat short-sighted by the board necessarily? Because like we all said, I thought we had a decent transfer window, kept all the key players, added in positions we needed to, barring left wing back that's a little bit light. But apart from that, not really too much to complain about. So yeah, get your thoughts down in the comments below. Right. Any other order of business? I feel like you've always got something to promote, Andy.
Just one thing, and I don't know the details, but on Sunday, the women's team recorded their first league win, and that's good.
Get in.
Really, sadly, and I don't mean sadly, I missed it because I couldn't get out. I had to have a COVID jab, so I didn't get there. I'm furious. And apparently they played really, really well. Really, really well. So
not good on them.
I've seen the highlights and the goals and what have you, and they were good goals.
A 3-0 win?
Resulting in good
3-0 win, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's one good thing. And they weren't playing in pink either.
At least one.
Oh, that's good.
They've not played it yet.
Pink is now the new green, isn't it? Because a few seasons ago, it was the second shirt, the green
horrendous
shirt, we come winning.
Yeah.
Horrendous, that kit.
And I bought that one and didn't. I think I wore it once on the show, so I didn't wear it. So I'm damn glad I didn't buy the pink one. Not like Smithy wasting me money on a pink shirt that I didn't wear.
Maybe you need to buy it, and then that might fix it all.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Right.
Josh, But I like to finish with, I was on the train in Cologne in Germany in summer, and I was talking to a Port Vale fan, and the guy said to me, quote, Clarke will be sacked by Christmas. He tactically is not strong enough to get you where you need to be.
Ah.
And I said, no, I like him. I think he speaks well today. And he just went, I'm telling you now, he'll not be your manager by Christmas. Didn't get his name. Don't know what club, but and it stuck with me. And every time this happens, I think, oh.
Whoever you are right.
You weren't Alan Smith in a Port Vale shirt, were it?
No, because he knows it's correct.
Yeah, because it's true.
No, it weren't Al. Right, we'll be back at the weekend with potentially a special show, so keep your eyes out for that. And then we're back next week to preview Blackpool. We'll see you later. You Reds.
You Reds.